Hello, good afternoon. I'm happy for you to be joining us today. Today we're going to have a very distinguished guest. We're going to be talking to Brendan. He's joining us from Griffith College, one of our greatest universities in Ireland. So he's going to be telling us a little bit more about what different options they have for you to study your undergraduate or graduate degree in Ireland. Okay, so let's welcome Brendan. Hi, Brendan. How are you doing?
I'm good, Eduardo. How are you?
Great. So can you tell us a little bit more about Griffith College? What kind of institution is it? What programs are there? What offers do you have for our Mexican students?
Certainly. So Griffith College is the largest private institution in Ireland. We've been established for over 45 years. We were founded as a business school, so our sort of key foundation, business, finance, and accounting. But over the years, we've grown to now have 3 campuses. So we have Dublin, Cork, and Limerick, actually 4. We have a new city centre campus in Dublin. And the programs are more varied now. So on top of the business and accounting programs, we have law, we have IT, we have journalism and media communications, we have design, which includes architecture. I'm sure I'm missing some as well. So we have a wide variety with music production. We have a wide variety of programs, both at undergraduate, postgraduate level. We also have pharmaceutical programs because the pharmaceutical industry in Ireland is very strong. We're renowned for helping students find work, to prepare them for the workforce. It's called career-focused education. In Ireland, all Mexican students are very welcome. You don't need a visa. And when you graduate, you can stay and work in Ireland for 2 years or even longer. So there's some of the programs. I sent a couple of videos to Eduardo now as well. Do you want to show me the first one just so I can see which one it is?
Yeah, sure. So I'll put the video on right now so our audience can see it.
Sure. See? Okay, I think this first video just explains about the intake policy during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Perfect.
There's no audio. There's a little jingle with it, but it's fine. I can't hear the audio. So essentially, I'll talk actually whilst the video is playing.
Sure, go ahead.
Essentially, we're being as flexible as possible during COVID-19. So in Ireland, everything will return to normal on the 10th of August. So our September semester is going to happen as normal. However, we understand that some countries may have travel restrictions. So if that's the case, you can have the semester either in your home country, online, and come when you're ready, or you can take it. You can come in February and start your program then, and you can defer. So this just shows the options available for the next intake. But Ireland is going to be open for business, and the September semester will be happening, maybe with social distancing protocols. We don't know that yet, but we are planning ahead for September.
Exactly. And that's one thing you were telling me, right? That a specific advantage is that our Mexican students could still apply, right, for the fall or for winter, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's very flexible. Students can come in September. So if Mexican students want to come, there may be a quarantine requirement. So you may need to quarantine for 2 weeks when you arrive. So I would suggest on the campus residence, because we have everything prepared there to receive students. Then you can take if you want to, you can take the first semester online from Mexico and then come when you're ready. Or you can come in February. If you didn't enjoy the online classes, it's fine. You can repeat the semester in February and there's no extra charge. So it's very flexible, but Ireland is open for business. In terms of the effects of COVID-19, Ireland is the least affected country in Europe. So both economically, also in terms of socially and health, Ireland had a very rigid response to COVID-19. It has the lowest rate in Europe, and the economy is knowledge-based. So the economy has not been affected. As I said, the economy is mainly pharmaceutical, IT, or finance, which are all knowledge-based industries. We don't rely on agriculture, we don't rely on tourism, we don't rely on manufacturing. So our economy has survived and is still very strong and robust. So when students come, they'll be able to find work both during their studies and afterwards.
Exactly. And that's one particular advantage of Ireland, right? That it had a much, you were talking about it right now, that they had a much better experience right now with COVID right now, especially if you compare it to countries like Great Britain or Italy or Spain, right?
Exactly, and one of the other benefits as well that you may know, Eduardo, is that international students that were in Ireland at the time, if they lost their jobs or due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so because a lot of students would work in restaurants and bars, shopping malls, which obviously all closed. If that was the case, the government gave them financial support. So there are Mexican students in Ireland right now earning 350 euros per week, which may be more than they were earning before during the pandemic. So Ireland's been very, very generous to international students during this time. And as discussed, the lockdown was very quick, very strong. Schools closed very quickly. We were prepared for it. All of our classes over the last semester have been delivered online, both for undergraduate, postgraduate, and English language. And Ireland's ready now. Like we flattened the curve, and we're ready to reopen.
Exactly. No, and the one important thing is that if you compare it to what the Mexican government gives as support to its workers or its students, obviously Ireland has no match because we don't get that. For example, that weekly payment you were talking about, right?
Yeah,
the government gives you directly.
Euros. It's a lot, like 350, maybe more than they were earning from their job. So yeah, it's a very generous package. On the subject of finances in Ireland, the minimum wage is the highest in Europe. So even working part-time, when things get back to the new normal, students will be able to earn enough to pay for accommodation, food, transport, and any additional items, clothing, things like that. It's the perfect place to study. It's a very welcoming country. It's a very warm country, very friendly. It's why it's very popular with Mexican students already. And quality of education is incredibly high. In terms of higher education, it's the 14th best country in the world to study a degree or a master's program. So the quality is there, the cost isn't very high, and the economy is there. Like Mexican students are getting some amazing jobs when they graduate and are staying on, getting residency, getting an Irish passport, because Ireland needs qualified Mexican professionals to come study for a year or a few years and then enter the workforce, bringing the skills that they have developed in Mexico and refined in Ireland.
Exactly. And that's an important advantage that our students would have after studying at Griffith in Ireland, right? That they could become European citizens. And if they do everything right, they have good job opportunities, they apply themselves, they could even work all over Europe as the years pass.
Exactly. Yeah, so with a master's program, for example, a Mexican would receive a 2-year work visa when they graduate. If during those 2 years, the person gets a job that pays 30,000 or 32,000 euros per year, which is a normal salary, like for a master's graduate, you'd be hoping to be earning more than that. Then you can renew your work visa indefinitely. You only need to do that for 5 years, and then you can get residency and an Irish passport. So just 5 years on a work permit, and you get residency. So there is a clear pathway to that. Ireland has a strong economy and a small population, so it needs professionals, it needs skills from outside the country to come in, study, and the best way to do that is to study. Come and study for a year, understand Irish culture, understand the workforce, and then enter the workforce. And there are so many success stories of Mexican students who have come over and are now earning incredible wages in companies like Twitter, Google, Apple, Pfizer, Deloitte, 𝗵𝗵𝗰𝗲, thousands of jobs available.
Yeah, exactly. And that's an advantage, right? That especially right now with Brexit and even before that, many large multinational corporations have their headquarters in Ireland, right? For all of Europe, especially because they take advantage of the local English-speaking workforce, right?
Exactly, precisely that. I mean, the IT companies like Facebook, Apple, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn, Dropbox, they all have their European headquarters in Ireland because the corporate tax rate is lower than in other European countries, and it has English as the first language. So that the government created that specifically to attract these companies. The problem is there's not enough professionals for the jobs that are being created, so Ireland needs people to come from overseas. Because of Brexit, a lot of the companies, I'm British-Irish, so my British side's quite sad with Brexit, but my Irish side's happy. So it's a bit of interference there. So financial companies that are in the UK or were in the UK have relocated to Ireland to remain part of the European Union, to keep trade with the 500 million consumers that make up the single market. So there's jobs in finance, accountancy, banking, and they'll only be more created after Brexit.
Yeah, exactly. And another advantage our students have is that they can not only work after they graduate, but they can work during their studies, right?
Exactly, yeah. So during their studies, they can work part-time, which is 20 hours per week. As I said, the minimum wage in Ireland is the highest in Europe. And they can work full-time during the holidays. So if you're studying a master's or a degree, there's only 7 months of the year where you're studying. There's 5 months where you can work full-time. So students that are studying a degree or a master's program have a lot of opportunity to work full-time, to build up some money so that when the exams come, they don't have to decide between work and their exams. They'll already have the money to pay for rent, so they can leave the job for a little while, focus on exams, get a really good grade, and then go back to work.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's something that helps them, especially make up the investment their parents. I guess some of your students have parents that pay their tuition or the cost, and some have saved their money on their own. So it helps a lot that they can make up a lot of at least their daily or monthly expenses. They can get them in a great part to working part-time or full-time during their school holidays, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you raise a good point there. It's a big investment, even though the cost of higher education in Ireland is not that high. If you compare to Canada, US, UK, it's on average with Griffith anyway, around 10,000 euros per year. That's still a significant amount of money. So we are recognized by FIDER. So if a Mexican student needs some funding to pay for a postgraduate program, it's only for postgraduate, they can apply for a loan of 200,000 pesos from FIDER, and they have 10 years to pay it back. If it's paid back in 5, there's no interest. So it's essentially a free loan to cover the cost of your postgraduate program.
And especially because it'll be a lot easier for them to repay it if they're earning their salary in euros than if they were in Mexican pesos.
Yeah. Like I said, the jobs are very high paying. Rent can be quite high as well. So it's not it may be more expensive to live in Ireland than in Mexico, but at the same time, you'll be earning a lot higher as well. So it's in all, it's more beneficial. You will have the opportunity to build up more funds with a good job in Ireland.
Exactly. No, and that's what we tell most of our students, or that's what we give them as an advantage of going to Ireland, that the tuition here at a recognized private Mexican university is usually much higher than the one they're going to pay over there in Ireland.
Exactly.
Much higher.
Yeah, so it can work out cheaper. Yes, it can work out cheaper than some Mexican universities. I know the quality of education in Mexico is very high, and that comes at a cost. So in Ireland as well, the quality is very high, and there's a cost, but it can be cheaper than in Mexico. So it's just about finding what's right for you. We have a great variety of programs here, really industry-led as well. Our lecturers, the program directors, they don't just work at Griffith College, they work in industry. So that brings with them obviously the knowledge and the expertise, but also the contacts. Our teachers will be able to help you find the best job. They'll see your skills and they'll know the companies that need them. So because the companies are talking to them as well, they're saying, look, we have Facebook calling Griffith College on a weekly basis saying, can we get graduates in big data? Can we get computing science graduates? Can we get network security graduates? So the program directors are there to help our students get the best job. Some of our programs, the students get job offers before they finish the program. So obviously they still have to finish. We don't want you to go to Facebook before you finish your program. But that just shows the demand in Ireland for in those key industries. So IT, finance, pharma, a job is literally guaranteed. 100% of the graduates of those programs are in a job within a few months of graduating. Other programs, so like journalism, law, perhaps slightly lower, but still we have industry-led tutors, we have a careers counselor, we have everything you need to get that right job.
Exactly. And all of the programs you offer, obviously you do because they have a job op market, be it in Ireland or in other European countries, right?
Exactly, yeah. So our programs reflect the employment market in Ireland. So because we want our graduates to get great jobs when they graduate, because they'll be our ambassadors. We're very proud to have students working at Amazon and at Google and Facebook. It's and Netflix. It's great for our reputation that our graduates getting such really good programs. Similarly with our music production program, the graduates go on to work with U2, with Lady Gaga, the Kings of Leon. They've helped produce amazing albums that we listen to every day. We hear on the radio every day. Griffith College students help produce those songs that we hear every day. So it's great for us that our students have that support, have that ability to get the right job and be a success.
Exactly. Yeah, and what are the general entry requirements for a Mexican student if they wish to study an undergraduate or a postgraduate degree at Griffith?
Sure. So for undergraduate, we'd need to see your high school transcripts and the diploma, both the original and the translation. The translation doesn't need to be official. So maybe in your languages, you work with certain translation companies. We need to see an English language certificate. So for undergraduate, it's IELTS 6 is the requirement, or 6.5 if it's a law or journalism program, because they're very English intensive. And we need to see a copy of the passport. Some programs will have a portfolio requirement. So for architecture, fashion design, there would be a requirement there to see a portfolio, just so the faculty understands the student's style. For postgraduate, similarly, we need to see the transcripts and the diploma award from university, the original and the translation. We need to see a CV, and we need to see English language certificate. So the requirement is 6.5 for master's and postgraduate programs, or 7 if it's law or journalism. If a student is a little bit below the required English level, we will accept them. They can start their program and we'll give them free English classes. If they're a bit further back still, then they can come during the summer, do 3 months of English, or up to 3 months of English for €500. And they can work while studying that English as well. So at very low cost. We want to help our students be a success. So the language level, we have a language school, so use it. If you need it, it's there. Get the English, get really strong English, then go into your master's or your undergraduate program. So it's a very simple process. Some programs have a higher requirement for other. Some you may need an interview for. As I said, there's a portfolio, but in general, they're the requirements.
Yeah, and that's an important thing, that even if they think their English isn't ready for a postgraduate or a graduate degree, that they can take the English they might still need through Griffith, which is quite a nice advantage. They can get to know the same institution. They can already be in Ireland. They can start working from the moment they study English. That's pretty interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, no, having the English is great as well. In general, I think Mexicans have very high standard of English compared to other South American or Latin American countries. I'm here in Brazil. Language, with respect to Brazil, the language level is not to the same level as in Mexico. It's probably due to the proximity to the US. But yeah, in general, Mexicans do have good English. But if you need English, if you feel you need a few months of English first, we have that. So yeah, come a few months earlier, study some English, get a job, acclimatize, and then go into the sort of harder graft of a master's or a degree.
Exactly. And you have obviously your main campus is in Dublin, right? But you've also got locations in Cork and Limerick.
Yep, exactly. So our largest campus is Dublin. One of the videos that I sent you there, I think it would be the second one, shows a sort of drone footage of the campus, so we can show that after. Dublin is our main campus. We also have Cork and Limerick. If you're coming to study English, we offer general English in Cork and Limerick, which at the moment is probably better for someone with a lower level of English, because the city's not as big as Dublin, so it's it's easier to navigate. It's less daunting. If you go to a big city and you don't speak the language very well, it can be a struggle. So I'd go to Cork and Limerick. Also, there are more jobs on offer in those cities as well, because there's less competition. There are 70 language schools in Dublin. There are 5 or 6 in Cork and Limerick. So whilst the cities are smaller, the competition for those job opportunities is much smaller as well. So come over. If you want to study general English, Cork and Limerick are excellent. We do offer a selection of degree and master's programs in those cities as well, and at a lower cost. So where a degree in Dublin would be sort of 9,000–10,000 euros, it would be around 7,000 in Cork and Limerick, which for the same award, the same quality of program, is a very, very good price.
Exactly. And I'm guessing most of our Mexican students join the Dublin campus, right?
Yeah, for higher education, yeah. Mexicans do prefer Dublin, but for English language, we do have some Mexicans studying in Cork and Limerick. Also, the programs there reflect the industry. So we have a master's in supply chain in Limerick, and we moved it from Dublin to Limerick because Limerick is closer to Ireland's industrial sort of manufacturing centre. So there are more jobs in supply chain in that area than there would be in Dublin. So we sort of have to think like that as well when deciding where we deliver our programs. And similarly in Cork, there is a strong pharmaceutical industry there. So we do offer a pharmaceutical master's in Cork for students that would then easily find a job in the industry in Cork once they graduate. So yeah, for Mexicans, they do prefer Dublin, but the other cities are beautiful as well.
Okay, that's excellent, Brendan. Is there anything you've had or you've gotten to see from the experience that Mexican students have had that you would recommend to our potential viewers?
I'd say Mexicans they're very well received in Ireland. My cousin who lives in Dublin is now married to a Mexican, 𝗨𝗲𝗄𝗧, who actually studied Griffith before I worked there. So just enjoy it, meet people, try not to just stay talking to Spanish speakers. Go and meet some Irish people. They're very friendly, they're very open. With Griffith, go to the Students' Union. We have a very large Students' Union that organizes the clubs, societies, the parties, which the third video I sent to 𝗵𝗿𝗄 shows some of the videos from the Students' Union. Just make the most out of it. The island is an amazing place to study. And as I said, there's a good community of Mexicans there, which is great. But also, please try and make friends with Irish people, make friends with people from other parts of the world that you'll meet at Griffith. It's a very international campus. There'll be lots of students from Africa, from China, from India, from Brazil, from Panama. So do try and meet. So this is a drone video of our Dublin campus. It's 250 years old, the building, very historic, but inside obviously has been modernized.
Okay, yeah, we're seeing a video of the campus right now, the main one, right?
Yeah, this is Dublin, yeah. That's our halls of residence.
So it looks like it's a very classical building, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's 250. No, it's 210 years old, something like that, where it's had various different functions over the 2 centuries. It used to be a hospital, it used to be a prison, it used to be an army barracks where the army used to train. So it's got a lot of
history.
A lot of history, yeah. And anyone who's been to Dublin will know of Daniel O'Connell. O'Connell Street is the main road in Ireland with the big spire. He was imprisoned. He was one of Ireland's first political activists against the British, and he helped Ireland gain independence. He campaigned for Ireland to have its own government, recognizing the Queen of England as head of state, but that Irish decisions be made in Ireland. He was arrested by the British and imprisoned, and he was imprisoned inside our campus when it was a prison. So our campus he used to write letters to other activists from the building. So Griffith College played a role in the independence of Ireland. When Ireland gained independence in 1916, Griffith College in our building played a role in that. So it's a great story. It's a beautiful building, steeped in history. Same in Cork. In Cork, our campus, again, is around 200 years old. Beautiful building, very historic, but also obviously inside it's modernized. It's very warm. It's got really modern technology that is needed. But it's like you'll find in Ireland and the UK. Like if you go to study in Oxford or Cambridge, a lot of the buildings are very old, and it just adds to the prestige of the experience.
Exactly, and that's what makes it feel like such a European university. That kind of building, the history,
Yeah.
the weather, obviously, that makes it so particular.
Definitely, it's like Hogwarts.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm guessing, talking about things our students could do in Ireland, starting with Dublin and the rest of the country, they'll always find something to entertain themselves with, to go out, to do, to get to know, to visit.
Absolutely. I mean, Dublin is one of the most fun cities in the world. I love going back there, and there's so much to do. There's a beautiful. It's the largest urban park in Europe or in the world. Is Phoenix Park, and you go there. You can have a picnic. You see wild deer whilst you're in there, and the zoo as well is in the middle. There's so much to explore. There's so much countryside. The nightlife is incredible. The pubs. There's always live music being played. There's some great nightclubs. There's some great student nights as well, where the drinks aren't as expensive as they would be normally. Also, Ireland is home of a company called Ryanair. Ryanair is Europe's cheapest airline. It's not got the best reputation because it's so, but they run these crazy promotions where you can get a flight to Barcelona, to Madrid, to Berlin, to all these different cities in Europe for very cheap, for like €4 or €5 sometimes. You have to follow the rules. Don't pack a bag. Just put 5 layers of clothes on, and don't check any luggage. Don't have any luggage in the hold. Just go to these places, and you can get to know Europe very cheap, because you're not just coming to Ireland. You're coming to Europe, and there's so many different cultures, so many different countries to enjoy beyond Ireland. But Ireland in itself is so much fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's one advantage we always tell our students, that you're going to get to study in Ireland, you're going to get to work in Ireland, but you're going to get to know Europe, because you can go on a long weekend. As you said, they could go to Paris on a long weekend, even on a normal weekend. They could go to London, they could go to Berlin, they could go to Rome, they could go to Madrid, they could go to Greece. Yeah, the options are endless.
Exactly. It's not just Ireland, it's Europe. And so if you're feeling more adventurous, I mean, Ireland as well, there's some great beaches. You may not connect sort of Ireland with the beach, but on the rest of the country, there's some really good surfing beaches. So for the Mexicans that are living on the coast that will miss surfing, there's some beautiful beaches in the west of Ireland. Also, the further south you go as well, like Cork is a beautiful city, very historic. You can take boat trips to the islands where they filmed Star Wars, where they filmed Game of Thrones, things like that. So there's a lot of adventurous stuff to do in Ireland beyond going to the pub and seeing a crazy band play or taking a
And exactly, and especially for our Mexican students that are used to much larger cities like Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey. Dublin is actually a very navigable city. It's not that large if we compare it to those, right?
Yeah. The city itself is relatively compact. It's spread like to the suburban areas, but the public transport's amazing as well. That's one thing with Ireland. So you have the bus. You can download an app where you can sort of see how long it will take for your bus to arrive at your stop. There's trains, there's trams, there's the Luas, which is the tram. There's the public transport infrastructure in Ireland, in Dublin, but in Ireland in general. Like you can get the train from Dublin to Limerick in an hour and 20 minutes, and to Cork it's, just under 2 hours. So it's the infrastructure, because it's quite a small country compared to Mexico. It's easier for the government to have implemented strong infrastructure. So like you can get around the city very well, very cheaply. Also in Cork and Limerick, you may want to look at buying a bicycle because you can just ride around the whole of the city without any issues. Dublin you can do as well. You just have to be careful because the traffic is a lot more heavy than in the other cities.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a difference too, especially for someone that lives in a big city in Mexico. They're going to get a more relaxed way of life in Ireland. And with greater job opportunities, more of especially the outlook on the country is it's very different to the outlook for Latin American countries at this moment.
Yeah, certainly. No, I know we were going through some problems at the moment here in Latin America, so it may be a good time to go to Europe if you do have the ability to go. Like I said, you don't need a visa. Mexicans are free to go to Ireland. Ireland loves its Mexicans. So yeah, if you feel it's the right time for you, Ireland's there waiting for you. And as I said, it's a very friendly country. I'm from the UK. Maybe you can tell from the accent originally. My dad's, my mum was English. You just see a huge difference in the culture between the two. We're very polite in the UK, but there's a whereas in Ireland, people are much more friendly. It's like the Latin America of Europe. They'll say hello to you in the street if you pass someone in the street. People will talk to you if you're on your own in Starbucks or in the pub. I'm gonna say, "Oh, hi, how you doing? You okay?" It's a much more friendly country. So don't need to be afraid of going over. You'll be welcomed with open arms.
Exactly, and that's what. Now that you talked about that, culturally, we're a lot more similar to Ireland than the UK. For example, it's a very Catholic country, right? Like Mexico.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah.
That and the very relaxed party attitude of.
Yeah. Like the Irish are very they're laid back. They know how to have fun, and like I said, they know how to work as well. Like it's the economy is very strong, but at night time the cities come alive. So it's very similar to Mexico. I love going to Mexico. One thing you will miss is the food. Mexican food is a million times better than Irish food. But there are, like, the good thing with Ireland is there's more variety. So there are Indian restaurants, Chinese restaurants, there's Portuguese restaurants, Lebanese, Thai restaurants. So whilst you will miss Mexican food, there are Mexican restaurants as well. You'll have more variety there as well. But certainly, in general, the food in Mexico is way better than in Ireland. I want some tacos al pastor now.
That's good. And a last point I think I hadn't touched yet with you is there any age limit for someone that wants to go study a postgraduate degree, for example, in Ireland? Or have you had students that are in their 30s, 40s, or even older from Mexico?
Yeah, no, there's no age limit. Like it's minimum of age of 18, but there's no limit. We have mature students, a lot of Irish mature students that sort of want to re-educate. They study. Many of them would be studying evening programs, but no, as long as they're aware that most of the students in their class will be a bit younger, and if they're fine with that, we have no issues at all with that. We're happy to welcome anyone.
Okay, that's great, Brendan. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about that I forgot to mention about Griffith, Ireland, the college, program?
I think we covered most things. But just to point out that Ireland, in terms of the economy, is the strongest response to COVID-19 for any country in Europe. And in terms of the country itself, the statistics are very, very low. So you can be confident to come to Ireland and live in a safe environment, in a welcoming environment. And Griffith College is the same. We are 45 years. Whilst we are the largest private university, we're also not huge, so you will be taken care of. You won't be forgotten. You're not a number with Griffith College. Everyone's a person. Everyone has contact with our tutors, with other students, with our staff. We're there to help you to make it obviously fulfilling, but also enjoyable. So thank you for inviting me, Eduardo, and looking forward to speaking to more Mexican students this way, in the new way to communicate.
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks a lot, Brendan, for your time, for telling us a bit more about the country, because it's not only important for the students to know the programs, how the college is, but also what opportunities they're going to have after graduation, what they can do while they're over there, what the ambiance in the country is. So I thank you a lot for telling us a little bit more about all of those important aspects for a student that wants to go over there.
Sure, it's a pleasure. Well, one thing that I sent you another video. Maybe you want to show that, the last one. It's the student.
Yeah, sure.
So it just shows students having fun and studying, but also having fun at Griffith College.
Okay, just let me load it up right now so we can see it as well. Just give me a second while it loads. Okay, just gonna put full screen. Just give me a second. Okay, just let me load it up right now. So we can end with that. Okay. There we go. Here we go. It's going to load right now.
So it's just a sort of montage video that just shows all aspects of studying at Griffith.
Can you just excuse me there? It's a little bit slow. It's raining here right now. Load it.
So, the raining here. It's going to rain here soon as well. So.
Okay, just let me. Let me start it up again because it's since there and it's slow right now. Let me do it from the beginning. There we go.
Cool. So there's normally a soundtrack with it. Or can people hear the soundtrack just that we can't? Or so these are some of the excursions that are organized by the Students' Union. This is our basketball team, which is one of the best in Ireland. This is the fashion show. There's some design students, one of the parties. And there's the campus. So yeah, nice and quick.
Yeah, nice and brief. I'll be sharing the video anyhow here on the comment sections on the video that's going to be published on Facebook. So anyone interested, any of our students that is interested can see the video for themselves in case they want to get more info on the college. And anyone that's interested in Mexico or Colombia, because we have offices all over Mexico and in Colombia as well, you can contact Enjoy Languages so we can give you more info about Griffith College. We can search for a graduate or postgraduate program for you, and we can help you make your dream come true of going to Ireland and living in Europe.
Perfect.
Perfect. So I thank you very much, Brendan. Thanks for your time and for joining us today.
Thanks, Eduardo. Thanks you. Hasta luego. Gracias.
Hasta luego. Cuídate. Hasta luego. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.